and welcome back to Papal Oh no, wait, Tales of Symphonia. This is
That
episode.
actually wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd love to see a game that uses, I don't know what engine Assassin's Creed uses. I forget the name of it. And just do like Papal Assassin, whatever, and you just take out the church's enemies.
But that wouldn't be very Catholic, though. What they'd have to do is knock them out and then bring
That's
them
the
back.
point. It's gonna be really exaggerated.
Oh, is it?
Like
Okay.
to play off of the
Crazy.
fears of an assassin Jesuit order who started the Inquisition before
Right.
like,
Don't forget
2
the
to 3 years
Crusades.
before it was ever founded. Yeah, they also started Islam and
Right.
the Nazi communists and everything.
They used Constantine's time machine.
Or no, it all doesn't even matter because Jesus is basically a bunch. It's Osiris and
Oh my god.
Mithras and a couple of these other
I
ones
forgot
that
about like
through manipulation.
I really like that Horus Ruins Christmas. I just wish
Yeah,
like some of his videos are on point, and then the others that make fun of Catholicism are like, okay,
Yeah.
can you should probably look at what Luther was trying to teach, because it's like he was not intentionally crazy, but I would say he probably had a really bad case of scruples, honestly.
yeah, that's what it was. He found, and I think that's where it would come from. If you have a hard time feeling like you're forgiven or not, it's easy to just say, "Oh, I'm automatically forgiven,"
Yeah.
so I don't need to worry anymore. But
Yeah.
I think there was someone who'd said, I love the saying that though eventually we're gonna run out of pagan deities to compare Jesus to, or to say that Jesus came from.
I'm not sure about
He's
that.
compared to
'Cause
so many. Oh yeah, unless people come up with different ones, like
that's what I'm gonna say.
I don't know. This is Alphonse, the pagan god of whatever that I discovered in Southwest Idaho.
People are probably gonna do that, but then it'll be really stupid because it's like, but you just discovered that.
Well,
But
yeah,
people-
but
people
then
find a
there's
way.
then the argument that well, what makes yours any different than mine? If there's like 3,000, why is it yours out of 3,000? But then
Well,
they
there's a couple
discount,
different reasons.
yeah, because I think Trent Horn tore that argument apart.
Yeah,
because
he
Ricky
did.
Gervais made the same one
Mhm.
when he was on the Colbert Report. He said, "Oh well, there's 3,000 different ones. Why is yours the most important one out of 3,000?"
Right. I always think that's a stupid argument, but the thing that annoyed me the most about that actually was Stephen Colbert. He didn't even try to defend that.
Yeah, it's because he's a more liberal Catholic, so he'll softball it, and I don't
know,
think he
it's
really had
just-
the means. It's
really-
either
Go ahead.
either he didn't have the means to defend it, or he just opted not to because he didn't want to come off as
Catholic.
but rigid, or whatever the term would be for
Right.
someone to
Which
actively
is
defend
really
it.
stupid because supposedly he's a Sunday school teacher, so it's like,
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert, I know you should probably know a little bit about this. I mean, obviously you're not
Though
great.
at times he can be good. He had, I may have mentioned it before in an episode, but he had a quote unquote like massive, probably the most biggest air quotes possible Catholic on his show who wrote a book that said why he doesn't believe that the Eucharist is the true body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ, and all these reasons why it isn't. And he said, "So you're a Catholic?" He said, "Yes." He's like, "You're not a Catholic." And he's like, "No, I am." He's like, "No." He said, "Do you believe that?" He said, "Do you believe in the Eucharist as the body and blood of Christ and the transubstantiation?" He's like, "No, I don't." And then he's like, "Oh, all right,
You're
well,
not
then you're not
Catholic.
yeah."
Ooh, I
'Cause
was gonna say that's. I
I think that's just what he was saying. He did it in a comical way that people were laughing with him, but he was explaining, look, you can't claim to be something, but reject things that you claim. But like, I can't say I'm Jewish, and then say, well, actually, I guess if I was culture Jewish, I can't say I'm Muslim, but I don't believe Muhammad was real.
yeah.
It wouldn't make any sense.
That's gonna
I can't say I'm a Muslim, but Muhammad wasn't a prophet. That would make no sense. You're just saying you're something, which is what I think a lot of cultural Catholics are. They're like
Yeah.
saying, "Oh, I'm a Catholic," because it sounds nice. I like to be associated with a group of people, but when you get into the nitty-gritty stuff you have to do, oh, I don't want to do that.
It makes me really sad because it's like, obviously Colbert has some understanding then of the faith, but it's just he's a little loose on some things, kind of like how for some reason people think Catholics for choice is a real thing, and it's like, nope.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a shame.
Same with Jim Gaffigan, who
Yeah, that came out of left field with him.
yeah,
being
it really
a dog
did.
rally. It's
And to be fair, maybe he meant that as a joke. I'd honestly like to talk to him about that, but he's not going to talk to Joe Schmo.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna recover from that, even if we find out it was a joke. And even if it was, that would have been way too. I don't want to say edgy, but it's way too out there for a joke.
Right, without some clarification.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
And he had his kids with him. That's why it would make sense for him to make that
Yeah.
joke, to do that.
The only way I could really see if it was a joke was he meant the actual term of gay instead of what the term has become. But he was at a gay parade, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, they were all wearing pride gear with pride flags and everything. Like, they were decked out and everything.
Which is really,
I guess getting back to pagan deities or whatever.
I mean, all we got is puzzles at the moment, so go ahead.
I got to Zoroastrianism, or however it's pronounced, is a pretty interesting religion. Obviously, not one that I find to be true or I would believe in.
Right.
But because it's one of, if not the first monotheistic religions, if I remember, before it devolved into. I think it started to devolve into pagan worship when Alexander arrived, because they would say, "Oh, Mithra, oh, we identify him with Apollo," because Mithra, before he was Mithras, because like Mithra was like a sub, like they had Ahura Mazda, which was like our Abrahamic god,
right?
But then they had like gods under him that were like four like ones that did stuff.
That's weird.
And Mithra was one of them, and he was associated with the sun and a couple other things. And so when the Greeks were there, they said, "Oh, like Mithra, he's pretty cool. Let's bring him back with us." And then the Romans did the same thing.
I was gonna say, kind of like the Romans then, yeah.
Yeah, because when the Romans went somewhere, as a thing of subjugation, they would say, "Your gods are ours now." So, I don't know, Kronos, the Celtic whatever, yeah, he's ours now, because it's as if to say, the things that you believe in belong to us now.
Did they ever really do that with Jerusalem? Because I don't think they really did that with God, though, did they?
I think that was hard to do. They may have tried, but I'm assuming it would be hard to do because God wasn't like a pagan deity in that.
Right.
Yeah, because pagan deities were just kind of like guys who were real jerks and did whatever they wanted to everybody. Which some edgy atheists will probably argue that God did, but it really didn't, because the text was completely different from how pagan gods operated.
Yeah, the other part is, unfortunately, humans weren't ready for the full meaning of God at the time, so basically God had to break it down for us in terms at the time that we could understand, because, let's be honest, a lot of people are really stupid. Because it's like, people are saying...
Even when God showed himself, people were pretty stupid. Yeah. Like, he literally leads like, you guys have been enslaved for I don't know how long, and I lead you out of that and into the desert. And the first thing they're doing is, we're tired and we're hungry, I wish I was enslaved again.
Right. I think the best example of that is, let me see, an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, and it's like, something like that. Like, basically if somebody took your animal and then took it away from you, it used to be, alright, well go kill all of their animals instead of just one. So it's like...
Well, there's Hammurabi's law, where if there was a guy who chopped down a tree and it accidentally killed the landowner's son, then the guy who chopped down the tree would have his son killed instead of him.
Right.
It's supposed to be as equal as possible, and that's Hammurabi's law, which I think some of that is what it's based off of, because it's supposed to be as equal as possible.
Right. Which makes enough sense, but I was going to say, that obviously...
That's when Christ comes along and says, no, it's not how...
I was going to say, even for the Old Testament, that wasn't really how it worked. If something happened by mistake, I think that you really...
Oh, there were so many laws in the New Testament. Like, people say, oh, it's the Ten Commandments. No, there were, like, hundreds of different laws that were added by the Pharisees in regards to every facet.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it, because it's like, that would be more so, like, that the Bible even addresses that. Like, if you accidentally kill somebody, you go to one of the 3 cities where it's like, I accidentally killed somebody, so I'm here.
Yeah.
And then eventually they have judged them, if I remember correctly. I'd have to double check, but it's like, that sounds right?
You see, that's why I don't think, whenever the Ten Commandments is at a courthouse, I don't think it's a display of Christianity or Judaism or anything like that. I think it's because those specific laws, whether you believe they were instituted by God or not, have had such an impact on the way we view laws and society in general.
And I could see that.
Because they were not the first, like Hammurabi's law, but they were some of the, like I said, some of the most key examples of a code of law, a code of honor and such in a society. You know, don't steal, don't kill, don't lie to people, don't covet your neighbor's stuff, don't covet your neighbor's wife, don't do this, don't do that. Here's what you shouldn't be doing.
Laid out all easy peasy for you, yeah.
And then, even then, people say, oh, well, it doesn't say anything about rape. Well, actually, if you go into the context, that falls under don't covet your neighbor's wife.
Yeah, that was also covered, like, aside from that.
So many things are covered under that, yeah.
Aside from that, there was, like, a book of the Bible, which I can't remember which one it was at the moment, that covered
they said that they stoned the guy for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
which people forget. They'll bring up the whole, oh, well, they have to marry them. No, because from what I'd read, I believe the whole thing with paying was because essentially a daughter was very important to a father. It was, I guess, in a bad sense, but it was like their property, because the whole point of the daughter was to be married off to someone else. Mm-hmm. So they would get the gain from that. And by taking that away, you are taking not only their purity, but essentially property away from the father, which is why they would have to be married to them, or you'd have to give them money in reparations for it, because you just took something very valuable.
Right. This is where it starts glitching, by the way. I think it was only...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, I'm sorry. I think
it's only the puzzles. It's fine.
Yeah. I think after this, it gets better, because it's like... This is where my... I don't know why I was glitching this badly, but it was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
At least the puzzle's finished.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at this tough guy over here threatening a kid.
Right? Mommy
don't tell us, or don't lie to us, or we'll take your lunch money or something.
Right. So basically, we can't enter the elven village because there's a small elf child getting in our way that we have to get a fruit that helps his mom.
Wait, we need to get past them, but we can't because we don't want to hurt his feelings?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's more so we save his mom, so...
Oh, yeah, I guess. Because just pick him up. You can't weigh that much. Just pick him up and put him over to the side.
Yeah. Oh, alright.
Alright, we're back here.
Yeah. I say, still glitching. At least we got the gist of the what we needed to before it glitched again, so... I'm really sorry, guys. At this point, it was like after my computer had died, so I did not have access to the original footage or...
Yeah, there's nothing you can do. At least it's not like a key story scene and it skips ahead and spoils something.
Yeah.
Or it leaves something out so you don't know the context.
And I actually had to go back and fix some stuff because for some reason, later on, when for the first 50 episodes, when I ran it through Handbrake, everything went perfectly, but I don't know what happened. If it was a Handbrake update, but now it just screwed a lot of things up, so I don't use Handbrake eventually. And I don't know what happened. Which is a shame, because it does make it look not quite as good, so... But whatever. Nothing that can be done about that. So I'm really excited that I'm going to have Tuesdays off, because now I'll be able to go to the Basilica for Mass. For daily Mass. Like, I like my church, but they have too many Eucharistic ministers, I feel, during the weekday for how few people there are.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think they only have... the priest and like 2 others, but if the times I've gone to daily mass because there's so few people.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember if that's. Let me see. There's the priest. Maybe it's not as bad as I'm remembering. Maybe it's only 3 extra people beside the priest, so that's not awful. But I prefer how the Basilica does it because the Basilica happens to only the priest has the body of Christ at the time. And it's the deacon, the deacon, apparently the deacon's always there, which is great, by the way. So he happens to handle the blood of Christ, and then they do have 1 Eucharistic minister for the second blood of Christ, because basically everybody comes to the middle, receives the body of Christ, and then, go back to their pews, so it splits.
Yeah, that's mine, even for daily, mine doesn't do the blood of Christ, because I think we have so few. Not that we have so few, we just don't have enough wine, I guess.
I can understand that, yeah. I was gonna say, my diocese has a fair amount, thankfully. It's like, I don't know, I'd say there's at least 30 people at each daily mass, which is great. I have seen this one lady that I know goes to St. Pius, and she's not a bad lady. This is only speculation, but I'm wondering if she receives the Eucharist multiple times a day, and I'm hoping for her sake she doesn't.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to receive more than once a day.
Mostly. There's a few exceptions, typically a funeral or wedding.
There's almost always an exception sometimes, but yeah, it's not supposed to be like an easy, I'm just gonna go receive the Eucharist.
Right, there was actually, that was actually something that happened during the Middle Ages, and then the Pope was like, nah, can't do that. You are not showing Christ the proper respect. So they fixed that. I'm actually kind of glad that it glitched at this point. That way it reduced the amount of puzzles we had to sit through. Because this is taking a bit, not gonna lie. But yeah, I think that the main problem was during that time is that they thought that as long as you received the Eucharist, you wouldn't die that day. So that's why people, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a, yeah. That starts to sound like superstition then.
Right, exactly. Just running. Yeah. I'm just waiting for this to finish, honestly, because there's not too many more puzzles. I want to say there's really only one area after this that is... There's only one stretch after this that isn't a lot of story. Otherwise, we're mostly story from here on out. Aside from the side quests, but, you know. Also, I think this was about when I started using Persea instead of Colette. So that's probably why I'm using Persea now for the avatar.
Does it make any difference?
The only time it really makes a difference is for a few different things. Like
like talking to people and the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs. That's one of them. That's a good point. I actually almost forgot about that until you mentioned it. Or how I mentioned briefly, Zelos. If he talks to any females, he gets a free item, and he flirts with them. How goes the item? Like a potion? It can be actually some decent items if I remember correctly. Most of the time it's stuff like that, but otherwise it can be something decent. There is a couple of stat boosting items because, you know, it's an RPG, so there's always going to be stat boosting items. And I'm pretty sure you can get a few of those through the Zelos stuff, so. You know. I don't think this bird could carry Lloyd. I could have seen Persea.
Yeah.
Ugh, excuse me. Has something in my throat.
You appear to be frozen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not frozen because I can hear the music going, but apparently I got confused for a second or two. Most of the time I cut this stuff out. I apologize for this, guys. I don't know why. It might have just been because it was in the glitched footage, so I wasn't sure if it was glitched or not. Because I could see that. Did I mention that I beat Metroid Samus Returns previously in one of our talks? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. Said asked if it was the reboot or not.
Yeah, it was a remake, yeah. I was gonna say it was, let me see. Oh, we're talking about Ymir fruit. That's nice. Basically, it has good properties to it. But Lloyd wants to eat the fruit that would save that child's mother's life.
Wow, that's really dark.
Oh wow, I was actually gonna say he wasn't gonna do it, but apparently he was.
Wow, that's...
Yeah.
What the heck is wrong with him?
You kind of deserve that one, Lloyd. Sorry. I mean, you were doing the same stuff that Zealous would have done in that situation, so...
It's alright, we've got something that can save a terminally ill person. What if we just don't?
Let's
just waste it.
Exactly. I'm kind of peckish, so, you know, we can cook for ourselves, but that just ain't doing it today. I want this specific fruit.
And then go straight to the kid and say, yeah, we actually did have the fruit, but we ate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I ate it. We got hungry on the way over.
I don't know why I went there. I could have sworn there would have been a treasure chest behind the tree, but apparently there's nothing, so...
Yeah, I don't know why there would be nothing there.
Unless I missed the treasure chest, which is possible. Or there's a treasure chest that pops up later. That's also possible. There's a few different things. You never know with an RPG.
Oh, another interesting thing about Zoroastrianism I just remembered. They have 3 messiahs.
Really?
Yeah. What's supposed to happen is... well, they have different names. I know. Okay. I think the last one's supposed to be the Xiao Shan. But basically, you know, bad stuff's happening. People are evil. The world's getting all debaucherous and all that. And so the first Messiah comes, fights back the evil army of darkness or whatever, led by, I forget what their... There's some kind of... I forget what their devil is, because they have like good heaven god, and then they have bad hell evil devil guy.
Right.
And he fights the devil guy and his army, beats them back. Everyone's like, oh, sweet, Zoroastrianism is cool again. I worship Ahura Mazda. And then 1,000 years later, people completely forget about that and go back to their old ways. And then he sends a second one. And they basically do the same thing all over again. But then each time they do it, like, he beats darkness, but it's like just enough that it can come back. So then people are like, oh, sweet, Zoroastrianism, let's worship Ahura Mazda again. And like 1,000 years again, people forget. And like the last time is like, all right, this time it's serious business. And the last Messiah comes and completely destroys everything, like all the evil at least.
Right.
And it's fun times for everybody. Oh, not fun times, because in order to get to heaven, you have to wade through this big thing of, I think, like lava. And the more sins or the worse of a person you were in life, the more it burns. So like, if you're a good person, it won't hurt too much anyway. But if you were, oh boy, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of sounds like purgatory, but I mean that makes sense because.
And each one of their messiahs is conceived by a virgin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So people will say, oh, clearly there's parallels in Christianity. Like, yeah, no, because that's not been proven.
Yeah, I mean there's probably parallels, but I mean at the same time that's because honestly things kind of
because it's a miraculous thing. I think that's
true
the
too.
point I would make.
Like there's bits and pieces of truth in each religion, except for maybe Satanism. That's
what I always say. I say that because as Catholics we believe different religions are either partially true or completely false. Key examples of partially true: Judaism and Islam. There's pieces of it that are partially true, and pieces of it that we say no, not really. And then you have Satanism, which is completely false.
Yeah, I was gonna say
because there's nothing redeeming at all in any aspect. Yeah. It exists either in the two forms, and one is the theological one that gets involved with magic and it's just creepy,
right.
And the other one is just edgy atheists who want to mock Christians.
Right. I would say for the most part, Satanism notwithstanding, of course, there's a bit of truth to each religion. Oh, hey, we're glitching again.
Yeah, to a part, because I think even Fulton Sheen said that even the pagans knew enough to blot out their sins, because they would hold blots where they would attach their sins to an animal and then sacrifice the animal, which is sort of what the Jews did.
Right.
Before Christ came along, so they would just... Everyone at least felt bad enough about what they did that they attached everything to an animal and then got rid of it to say, we're really sorry.
Exactly.
I mean, that if you leave out the looting, raping, and pillaging by some of these other pagans, but and in some part to the people of Israel.
Vikings in particular.
Yeah, because that is yeah, because I'm reading parts of it, and like they said in revenge for someone defiling their sister, they burned an entire city down, killed all the men, and took the women with them. I was like, oh, it doesn't really.
Don't forget the part where they tricked them into getting their foreskin cut off.
Yeah, or what's his name? I think it was it Jacob that tricked Isaac?
I think so. To be fair, for that previous example, the dad did say, "Why did you do this?" And the children basically said, "Well, we kind of wanted to get revenge because they were bad." And it's like, yeah. So I mean, obviously not exactly great, but it could have been worse, I guess. I don't know. By the way, we have to now proceed to get this fruit to us without a bigger fish eating this fish.
How on earth are you going to stop that?
Basically, instead of the bigger fish eating this fish, we have to summon worms.
Always a bigger fish.
Always a bigger fish. Oh, hey, we're glitching. I think that means we're almost at the end then. Honestly, I'm okay with this part glitching because it's like, this is not...
Yeah, we're not losing anything important.
Yeah. No, I see the big fish there. I'm not interested. I'm out of here.
That reminds me of, because the line I quoted was from Star Wars Episode 1. Someone on YouTube has done, they're called anti-cheese edits, where they remove all the boring fluff that they throw in, or like the really pointless stuff. And they're actually a lot better. They're not, like, amazing, but they're a lot better than they were.
I would believe that.
So I imagine they got rid of all the Jar Jar scenes and
I love Jar Jar, honestly.
Are you serious?
I am, actually. I love him just because of how much he pissed people off.
So you love him just to spite people?
A little bit. While Jar Jar was annoying, at the same time, I don't think he was as annoying as people, you know.
Who would you say is your least favorite character, then?
Oh, man. It might still be Jar Jar. I mean, don't get me wrong, it might still be Jar Jar, but he's not.
You just like him because people hate him.
That's partially it, and as I said, I don't think he's quite... Oh, there goes the fruit. I don't think he's as annoying as people make him out to be. That's
So do you like him just because you feel sorry for him, then?
Probably a little bit of that, and if you actually pay attention to the backstory, Jar Jar is somewhat useful, but at the same time, obviously, he's the one who gave all the power to Emperor Palpatine, so it's kind of his fault that everything happened.
Yeah. That's why I think every Gungan should be removed from the galaxy, like, permanently.
He's also really good, though, if you're trying to make peace allegations with an enemy, you'll accidentally get them to blow up their own ship. So, that is something that did legitimately happen, by the way.
Yeah, it was in the series, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, Jar Jar, he's the guy that I love to hate. Like, I could definitely see there being worse things. Oh, yeah, actually, I thought of something worse. The Star Wars Christmas special, so...
I don't think anyone talks about that. Like, even George Lucas said if he had time and a sledgehammer, he would destroy every single copy that ever exists.
Yeah. I can't disagree. I actually watched that 2 Christmases ago just to... Because I was like, it can't be that bad. It's that bad.
Yeah.
I actually think I don't mess up this time, if I remember correctly. I think I might mess up one more time, because for some reason that fish decided it did not want to... chomp on that worm as long as it did previously. No, wait, hold on. Never mind. But no, it's like it was really bad. I actually lost a friendship over the Star Wars Christmas special because I thought it'd be
Are you
funny.
serious? How?
Yeah. I actually thought it'd really be funny to send Snapchats to somebody of the Star Wars Christmas special, and they got really pissed off.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I wasn't doing it to specifically piss him off, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I can kind of understand it, but at the same time, to get that worked up over something... You know?
I guess it triggered something. They had these repressed memories of it, and they just remembered, oh, not this again.
Right. Which I can't entirely blame him, because as I said, well, I wasn't doing it for that explicit reason. I don't know, you know... Actions have consequences, you know.
Yeah.
So. I think he also moved away, so I think that might have been part of why I don't really talk to him anymore.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense than the Star Wars Christmas special destroying a friendship, because...
Well, I was thinking about it, it's like, yeah, I have lost a few friends, but not because of the Star Wars Christmas special, so.
I was gonna say Monopoly would make more sense, but Star Wars probably not.
The Star Wars Christmas special Monopoly.
I mean, it may be an idea. Maybe someone had the idea for that, and then after they watched the special bomb, they're like, yeah, maybe this isn't a really good idea.
I don't think Monopoly... There used to be that many sets of Monopoly, though, back when the Christmas special came out. I think there used to be...
No, it probably used to be just Monopoly, and then everyone was like, well, we can release a new Monopoly every year with a different theme.
Like, I think that really started happening in 2000. Would you probably agree with that?
Yeah, probably turn of the century.
Yeah.
Turn of the century, or
because I was like, I do happen. The only copy of Monopoly I have is My Little Pony Monopoly, because I still really like My Little Pony, but I can't watch it still, and that's for personal reasons that I'm not going to get into.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because it's like the fandom and myself ruined it for myself, and I fully admit that I ruined it for myself. And I think we finally get the fruit here. Why couldn't the fish...
it looks like it's lined up.
I was gonna say, why couldn't the fish swim under the boards previously? Whatever. On the bright side, we are almost done. I forgot just how long this puzzle went on for.
Yeah, I think we started in the very beginning on this puzzle, and now we're...
This was
even with footage of it glitching, now we're still here.
I was going to say, I think this probably would have been about an hour long. What are we talking about, Dirk? Lord Lloyd and the Sorcerer's Ring again. Let's see. It's not playing with it. How you can control animal make the sounds. I mean, that's pretty neat, I guess. Sure. Although it seems you can only use it where there's a flower. My dad likes flowers too. Is your dad an animal?
Maybe. If you're an elf, then maybe you'll think that all dwarves are animals.
Oh, that is Yeah, I mean that's true. Unless you
I mean,
happen
they
to
certainly
form,
act like them.
I was gonna say, unless you form a kinship over killing orcs, and then it's all good.
But that one still only counted as one.
Exactly. All right. We will catch you guys next time. Until then, Pax et Bonum.